Hello viewers. Well, it's been a few weeks since my last video on the channel. Unfortunately, I was testing the PlayStation VR2 and it ended up with me taking a visit to A&E. No, it's not a clickbait title, it's actually true. At launch, I played the PSVR2, got my PSVR2, I raced it on a stream, had no problem. But there was some issues with blur in the left eye. I was trying to sort that out, figure out what the problem was. I went into many of the different options on there, producing the border on the screen, looking at the 120 hertz mode, looking at lots of anything I could find that perhaps improve things in some way in terms of performance and test it. I tested some of the different games that are available, and I also tested Blu-rays, 4K Blu-rays, Amazon Prime, and DVDs. And DVDs actually were surprisingly good, actually. I'll come back to that later. However, on the final night of testing, I was testing a Humanity demo, which, cool, get a lot of vertigo from that, as well as, again, Gran Turismo and Kayak VR. And when I was playing Gran Turismo, I got a bad headache. Or a headache? No, I got some blur in the eye, some discomfort. I went back to the IPD where you set your eyes up correctly, and I found that when I was just looking at it, setting it correctly, coming back to it 5 minutes later, it'd be completely wrong again, completely wrong. So I thought to myself, well, what I'll do is I'll just take off my glasses for a moment, because sometimes you get some glare on your glasses, and I'll just try it again without my glasses to see if it can better see the pupils and understand where my focus is in some way. It was strange. The tracking device wasn't able to keep focus on my eyes. I would focus, I would turn the wheel, I would get the blue circles to say, right, we're locked on. I would find that sweet spot, and it's very small in the middle of the lens there where it focuses. And then I'd just sit there and look at the screen for a few minutes. And over a few minutes, you could see that the headset went a little bit diagonal by a millimetre or two on your head, something like that. And all of a sudden, it was out of focus. Nothing was working properly. Disaster. So I thought to myself, well, you know, if we just stay really still, let's just see if we can keep in focus, not turn our head too much. Let's turn our head to look at objects in the game, but also let's tighten the headset a bit more so it's just nice and rigid. Now, there are two options with tightening your headset. There's one where it sits on the bridge of your nose and it can be a little bit uncomfortable, or you put the weight on top of your head and you lock it so that it's just resting just above your nose, in which case you're not feeling it. Now, the next thing is you go on the internet and you look at what YouTubers have to say. And YouTubers say, oh, if it's some, or not all YouTubers, but some will say if it's touching your nose, you've got it in the wrong place. You should have it just above. You get different advice from everybody. If there's any blur in the headset, it's your fault. You're not wearing the headset properly. Everybody's quite emphatic. And I think what I found is that's not the issue. One of the issues is it's one size fits all, and one size headset does not fit all. And because it fits you perfectly and you don't have it affecting the bridge of your nose or pressured on the top of your head, doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone. So for me, I should have stuck with what I originally had on my first day of streaming, and that is resting it on my nose. That was where the perfect level of visibility was for me. However, I didn't do that. I tightened it. I was listening to what other people were saying and saying, well, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I've missed something or misinterpreted something in terms of the way these VR headsets work. Let's try it out. I felt a bit unwell, but that's not unusual on VR. I've tested a lot of VR over the years, and I find you go through this sort of unwell period. You've got to kind of fight through it, essentially. Come through the other side, and then your brain understands what's going on, and the next time you use it, you're tip-top. So I thought, let's fight through it. So I did a few races on Gran Turismo. I thought, well, I'm not feeling too good, but, you know, I've had a good session. I've tested it all out. Let's get some sleep. Let's see how we feel tomorrow. I felt increasingly unwell within the half an hour I took off the headset. I thought, whoa, really getting headaches and stuff. I'm feeling dizzy, nauseous. I woke up in the middle of the night, I don't know, 5 a.m., there's this crack in my skull, pounding headaches. I was having it's effectively a panic attack at this point. I'm waking up, my brain saying, what the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? It felt like I was still wearing the headset. My whole head just felt like it had this weight on it and this pressure in my head, and I didn't know what was going on. and I thought, well, let's just have a calm day. So I spent a day, and I thought, I'm just going to rest. I'm not going to work today. That's the end of the PSVR2 coverage goes out the window. The channel can wait. I'm going to have a rest. I went through about 3 days, unable to sleep, one consistent headache all the time, 7 days a week. Doesn't matter, morning, noon and night, never goes. Eventually thought to myself, well, I had a really bad night about 4 days later, and I thought, I am not getting better. I'm going to go to hospital. So I went to hospital, and luckily there was somebody who understood various head injuries, and we talked about what happens with VR. So 2 things happened to me. One is when I took my glasses off, because my eyes are slightly different as well, it caused astigmatism, confused my brain, which caused massive headaches for me. The second thing is that by tightening it on my head, I cut blood supply off to the front and rear of my head. So I was sitting there messing up my eyes and cutting blood supply off to my head for some time. All the options were, I've got various medication, but one of them was obviously sleeping pills to help me try and sleep. I was unable to sleep at the time for the constant headaches. And there are many other side effects I'm not going to go into on this video, but there are many other side effects you get affected with as well. It's been a miserable month. Now, I'm just going to continue now that the idea is that you sleep and eventually your body will recover. I'm about, 28th of February was when it happened. I'm now 29th of March as I record this video, and the headache has never stopped. But today is the first time in a month that I've felt I can actually record a video and talk about it and feel that there's some improvement. Done some different therapies and finding improvement now for the first time. So it's been a very stressful month. Now you might say to yourself, did you send the VR back? No, I've still got the VR and I intend to use it again. I'll only use it with my glasses. Another thing as well the doctor said to me was, get yourself some new glasses. So I bought myself a few new pairs of glasses for different aspects, reading, editing, whatever, TV. And so new glasses, de-stress, less caffeine, and I drink a lot of tea, and try and relax. And so it's all these things to help your body relax. And it's been a sort of stressful period this past month. I have to admit, some of the headaches, it's one continuous headache, but the pressure on your head and parts of your head changes at different times, and it can be quite uncomfortable where you just need to rest and you feel terrible and you have very little energy every day as well. It takes a lot out of you energy wise. So I only had a few hours of energy a day while all of this was going on. What's the solution to it? Well, as I said, I haven't got rid of the VR headset. I've kept it and I intend to use it again. I'm going to get back on the horse. It's important, I think, to get back on the horse. So when the headache stops one day, I'm going to give myself a few more weeks and then eventually put the headset on, not tighten it to the limit. If it is blurry in this eye, then so be it. I'll just have to deal with the blur. If the IPD are not capable of keeping up with my eyes in some way, so be it. In terms of the tracking, another issue is, I should point out, I am about 2 meters tall, so I'm taller than your average person, and that means when I'm doing various activities, the tracking constantly loses it, which means that from a streaming perspective, it's a real problem for me now because I have to have the border on screen. And that's a bit crappy for my audience watching, but it's just one of those things. I do have a little workaround. I'm planning on that when the time comes. So it's been an interesting couple of months. It's been a lot of, or months, should I say, it's been a lot of discomfort. I've had to cancel all of my events in that time, all of my coverage, all of my interviews. It's been a bit of a disaster, a couple of trips abroad, all that cancelled. But either way, hopefully in the long run, I'll recover and have great content in the future months to come. As I say, it's always a learning experience of VR. You know, doctors use it, architects, astronauts will use it. In the future, it will get better and better, and they do need to cover these teething problems. But I do feel that I've never had anything like this with the HTC Vive. I just felt the simple 3-strap system worked perfectly for me. I've never felt the PlayStation VR is as comfortable. It looks a bit more space age, but the fact that one size fits all is not entirely true. There is a mirror effect. I didn't know what that was until I looked into it. You do see that in dark areas at night, and that will improve in time as the pixelation, the screens change and improve, the lenses improve. Oops. But either way, it's just one of those things to be mindful of how tight you have it on your head, to always set the IPD. Every time you take the headset off and you put it on again, reset it every time. So if you're doing streaming and you're having a break for 5 minutes and then you put it back on again, you might have set it right and set your lenses. It's completely wrong every time. Amazing. It doesn't stay right for 5 seconds. It's the diagonal. That's really where the issue is. Nothing. Your glasses are never entirely straight. Your noses aren't perfect. Our noses are all wonky and God knows what else. So there's all that to think about. But anyway, the good news is I think I'm on the mend. I'm certainly better than I was a week ago. I wouldn't have been able to record this a week ago, given where I was at the time. I was a pretty low point, and still I have a headache right about here. So it is going to take time, but I hope it's less than it was a week ago, and I hope that in a month or two it will eventually fade. I think it's going to be about 3 to 6 months before I recover, so it will be some time, but I'm making good progress with it. And I'll put out the content that I can, kicking off with more this week. But that's it from me for now. I will say the PSVR2, just to finish off, as a piece of kit, is pretty fantastic. The VR experiences are great. It takes Gran Turismo to another level, and it really is the future in so many ways. But we still have a long way to go to take it to its ultimate potential. We're nowhere near it at the moment, but we are making great progress. But that's it from me for now. As ever, more soon.